Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, I was explaining you have to take the professional scope of work very seriously, because this particular kind of study like landscape, it requires a very strong professional acumen, very strong professional involvement and a very strong professional culture. So, what you do is when you get a client who is approaching you for a landscape plan to be done, what you prepare is a conceptual landscape plan for him. So, this conceptual landscape plan which will take care of anything that he is considering under his domain of this particular landscape. Once you prepare this, then you prepare BOQ, bill of quantities, technical specifications and tender documents. The BOQ, the bill of quantities, will have all the items of works broken into small items of works, and then each item will have to be quantified and the quantity will be given in certain units, and create a technical specification for that. The technical specification is supposed to take care of that how to execute that item of work and what should be the quality level and how it should be checked in terms of quality. So, technical specification also is very important item. So, first is a BOQ. The BOQ will have all the quantities of work measured item wise along with the rates per unit and also the computed rate for that quantum of work. That is what is BOQ. And then there will be technical specification in which each item of work will be very clearly indicated how to do that and what should be the kind of quality. And then another thing is the tender documents. What happens is such landscape projects which you are preparing a BOQ and specification you have designed, now it has to be executed as you dreamt of. Once you got the approval of the client in terms of its total concept plan, client says, I agree, this is what exactly I'll be approving, and he approves. You created the BOQ and technical specification, then we have to look for somebody who is going to execute it. We call them contractors, constructors, executors, whatever we call it. Now, such group is also a trained group who would be reading your BOQ very categorically, and they will understand every item of work, and you have to check their past records, past experiences and also the kind of works that they have done, a value of the work that they have undertaken, and then you are going to shortlist them. So, the tender documents which you are preparing will have a very brief drawing. The brief drawing simply means that a construction drawing which will have lots of details, I will show you, they will have lots of details. The tender drawing will not have so many details. They will have some rudimentary dimensional things so that the tenderer, he can estimate the level of works, because in the quantity you are giving a quantity in bulk, item wise of course, but in bulk, and here he has to really see that whether the quantity that he is considering as a BOQ, whether it is there in that particular work or not. But you don't have to give very detail in the tender drawings. Now, that makes the tender document, within which we will have also many other things like notice inviting tender, general condition of contract, special condition of contracts and such things, and all these contracts will have basically the agreement which will be binding this tenderer or the contractor who is assigned this particular job finally, and how to get the whole work done through him so that your work is absolutely executed the way you want it. There will be many other clauses which can be added in this GIC or special terms of condition STC. That is like, whether you are going to put up any penalty clause for the delay, whether you are going to give any incentive for early finish of the work. All these are the nitty-gritties of this. Maybe sometime we may discuss this. At this moment I will skip it. Then you prepare a construction drawing. Here I am saying that prepare a construction drawing. I said then you prepare. In fact, I will tell you the construction drawing is prepared parallelly, simultaneously. When the construction drawing is prepared almost full, professionally I can tell you from my own experience that if you have finished your construction drawing to the level of accuracy defined, or desired and then you estimate, then there will be hardly any deviation from the estimated work, estimate as you are given in the BOQ, or the estimates that you are going to incur at site. So ideal thing is a good professional designer would design the whole thing, prepare the complete construction drawings, then get the estimation done. That estimation will be now filled in terms of quantity in the BOQ, and that BOQ will be now going in the tender. Tender is going to estimate the amount of quantity, and then finally when he is going to do the work, he finds there is hardly any deviation. In practice, as per rule, we generally allow at the most 10% deviation, but I can tell you if the deviation is least, it speaks good about the designer, that whether they have taken it seriously, they have done it rightly, and whether the quantity has been correctly done. Of course, there could be some kind of situations when because of some some disturbances or whatever, the quantity might vary a bit, but it is always desirable, or there is no really question if the deviation is within that 10% of the actual quantity that has been estimated. Okay. Now the construction drawing is going to have every detail in it. Every detail in terms of dimensions, they go into millimeters. So what happens is when the contractor or executor who is going to work, basically they are going to give it to the laborers, and the laborers are going to measure, and then they are going to put the things in place exactly as per measurement. So this construction drawing should not have any errors. In fact, literally I'll tell you, if there are errors, then there are opportunities for the contractor to deviate from what is there in the BOQ, because he will always cite this error as an example that since the dimension is not there, I made it so big, and since the dimension is not there, we made it so small, and the designer cannot do anything. So ideal thing is that when you make the construction drawing, you check all dimensions before releasing the construction drawing for the site. It is always better that you doubly check. In fact, professionally, I find it is always advisable that if you put somebody on the job who is going to check this, and ultimately he checks the entire drawing and finds if there is any discrepancy, if there is an anomaly from one drawing to another, because each project might have about 50-60 drawings. So if such anomalies are removed, it is always better. Okay. Then what you do is you take the supervision into your work. In the supervision, what happens is you implement the project. In the implementation stage, what happens is this is the responsibility of the contractor, but you appoint a good supervisor. And also as a designer, you should also take some time out and periodically supervise the way the work is going on. Your supervisor is going to check everything at place every day, and periodically or occasionally if you go and make a random check, then probably you will be able to identify if there is any errors or if there is any rectification that is to be done. And then you undertake the annual maintenance operation. This is one particular area I always tell my landscape designer friends that this is an area which is perpetual. What happens is once you are commissioned the work, landscape work, you are preparing concept drawing, you are preparing the construction drawing, BOQs, everything is fine. Then you leave it in the hand of the contractor and you get your fees. If you take the supervision, you get an additional fees, fine. But how about taking the annual maintenance operation? Generally for other equipments we say annual maintenance contract, AMC. Here I would say AMO, annual maintenance operation that you take. Of course, you do require a very strong team of people who would be working on this, and they will do the job. Now, after that, you conduct a post-occupancy evaluation. Basically, post-occupancy evaluation, you can always do it very methodically, or you can also do very superficially. Superficial is like you designed a park is executed, people are using it, and you go in as a user and keep an eye and ears open and see what people are reacting, how they are reacting, what is their opinion. If they are saying good, you feel good. If they say it is wrong, you don't feel good. The thing is, this post-occupancy evaluation, which is very rudimentarily done, is by yourself and your friends and your aides. But you can also have a very strong question-oriented study done. You can meet people randomly and take their opinion as structured in a question, and that you can do. Now let me show you some samples of professional outcome. Say the concept design, I'll just show pictures and give you an idea that how things look like. See, this is an example of a concept design in which the buildings, other areas and the entire landscapes are very well clearly mentioned. Okay. This concept design will be reviewed by user, by the owner, and then it may be a body, a committee of experts. They will approve your concept design, and your role will be to explain every aspect of it. In this particular concept design, everything is graphically done, nothing has been annotated. What is this annotation? If you take, just take an arrow, make an arrow, and you write something, and people get automatically, dictated to this particular items. Okay, that is another way. And basically, the annotated drawings are better whenever it is being reviewed in your absence. If you are not there, you don't have any opportunity of explanations, it should become self-explanatory. Okay. So, if the concept design is this, I am just showing you two pictures one after another. The same concept design which has been given a shape in reality which looks like this. Now, I will go back. Look at this. This is the concept design, looks something. You have to understand what is likely to be in future, and now if you see that this goes into the reality, this is what is the result of it. It simply indicates that your concept design should have all the components, all the items which can be very clearly explained in the drawing itself, because nobody has such strong visualization power that one can visualize exactly what is going to be in reality. Okay, another example. Concept. Look at the reality. This is what it is. Basically, one group of experts, that is the landscape designer, means you and your team, would be able to visualize this much better. However, best with whatever style or whatever techniques you use, I can assure you that you may not be able to create exactly the same kind of visualization in 3Ds also. But however, nowadays with the help of computers and all the very advanced softwares, we are trying to emulate exactly what it should be in the reality, and with all these CGIs and all that, we are being able to do it to a great extent. The idea is whether the client has understood. Okay, next you look at this. This is another concept plan. So, basically what is there in the concept plan? It is at the ground level plan that you are preparing. So, at that ground level slightly above, you are showing that what are all these items, okay? Especially the building elements, the paths, the trees. Now, in the concept plan, what happens is the location of trees or the position of trees that you are seeing, that is not exactly where it should be. It is only pictorially it should look good, pictorially it should look attractive, but when it comes to the real drawing, in such cases there will be a technique or there will be a grammar of putting all these plantations in a particular sequences. I will discuss that later. Okay, this is the concept drawing. I am just showing one more as a concept 3D presentation. Okay, that means people will have some idea that what it is going to be once it is constructed. So, this is also important in the concept plan preparation. You try to prepare as far as practicable or as far as achievable 3D images. Earlier, what you in the absence of computer, we used to do it with the hand. We used to make three-dimensional sketches, and that used to make a good senses, and people used to have 2, 3, 4 views. But now with the computer, you can make multiple views the way you want. Okay. Now, the next one. This is another. It looks like almost like a sort of artist's impression. So, basically what happens is all these 3Ds, we call that as artist's impression. Why we call that as artist's impression? The reason is this, that here the people gets the idea what the artist is visualizing. So, artist is visualizing what you are visualizing. Quite often the landscape architects are equally competent or maybe better competent, more competent than even a visualizer. Okay. Next. This is a representation of a concept section. So, what happens is in this, the section has been drawn like a technical drawing, like is if I would say that this is the section line which has been drawn with all those pits and mounds and such other things and embankments and water body, and rest of the things are emulation or image of trees and other. This also gives a clarity in the mind of the viewer. That means the owner, when he is seeing your section, he also gets it very, very clear. Okay. Then comes concept elevation. Look at this. Here the landscaping is a part of the building elements, and as a building elements, you just try to show trees and all. These are all representative. This may not be exactly to the tune of the kind of tree that you are going to have. The trees will have different shapes, and it is best if you could almost emulate what kind of tree is going to come and what's your profile. But this is how the concept elevation looks like. These are minded semi-technical drawing, and these are very dimensional. They are not arbitrary. Everything is dimensional. And then another one, this is a section in which you will find that every elements are annotated, shown with the building elements, and how the tree is going to be planted over there, how the planter box is going to be. All these are a part of it. So this is a technical section. Now see another technical section. Look at this drawing. Looks very cluttered, very clumsy. Now this particular technical drawing has lot of annotations. Mind it, the thing is, these annotations are very meaningful, very useful. Don't bother about the quality of the drawing entirely if it is totally cluttered, because each and every element, unless told, you won't be able to visualize. So this particular drawing is very, very technical drawing in terms of plan. So I have shown you one plan earlier where there were no annotations. I am showing another plan where there are annotations. Don't bother about the clutterness of this. What is most important is how much communicated elements are there. That means people know exactly what you are giving. Now here I am going to show you few of my own projects works. Okay. Now this is one of the township landscape plans which I have prepared for Vindhyachal NTPC township. Now this is the kind of drawing. If you really look at the drawing, it looks very, very cluttered and looks like any other construction drawings, and that is important. The thing is, it should be here every location of the buildings are there, and then the trees are also located, not to detail. In fact, this is the broad layout plan, and this for showing the plantation in all those areas. It has almost generated nearly 30 drawings to show the plantations in all other places. Now this is another one in the same project, another one in the same Vindhyachal NTPC's domain. It is a Russian complex. Look at the drawing in which you can, if you can make out that there are plantations here, there are houses here, there are roads, there are grids giving dimensions, and everything is dimensioned. This is how the working drawing is or construction drawing is. It must have all the trees names and its numbering here and the dimensions, so that there is no mistake in creating this. I will show you another one. Look at this. Let me show you one more in detail. Yeah, this particular drawing, which has the same township where the drawing is having only the canal location shown absolutely with dimensions and some idea of the plantations. And this is another detailed plantation drawing, and this is the embankments. The canals are there, the canal embankments. That means this particular working drawings are as good as, rather same as any other engineering drawings. So never consider that your landscape plan is nothing but a colorful pattern making game. No. One more. Look at this. It is a recharge pit. That means on the canal in the bed. I will discuss this when I will be talking about the drainage plan later, that there are recharge pits where in case there is an excess of water, that should be allowed to go in, or in case there is a groundwater here, that should be allowed to come up. So that is the recharge pit we have. And look at this one. This is the NTPC Vindhyachal's power plant. It has nearly say 15 drawings to indicate the total landscape plans. I am just showing you one layout plan in which everything is shown, the mounds, the plans, and a few other aspects are shown. The sections, the landscape sections, which has the mound size, slopes, location of plants, their positions, and the sections. I am just showing you one representative plan for contour evaluations. If suppose any area which has been, if the landscaping is being done around this particular building, the contour has been evaluated, contour has been graded. So, it is a contour grading plan. So, basically what will happen is your construction drawing will have multiple such things. So, ultimate outcome, whenever you are planning, it can be ranging from such kind of large housing areas to clubs and such country homes. It can be to the level of parks, it can be to the level of greens, urban greens, it can be to the level of small extension housing area greens, and even to the interior. So, all together, basically what happens is, if you follow the same items as I said for the scope of work, you will find that this will be very, very ideal. Now, I am putting two slides here, one for the glossary. This you will go through. This glossary generally is covering all the items that has been covered within this lecture, and also a brief bibliography. So, idea is, this particular set of lectures is supported with this glossary and bibliography. It is not end all. There will be many other items. So, every sequential lectures, as soon as one particular aspects will be discussed, there will be a set of bibliography and a set of glossary of terminology, and so that by the end you will have a full set of glossary and full set of bibliography. So, here what we have learned is all about the categories of landscapes to the scope of work, and what lies ahead is the history. We will be discussing in the next set of lectures the history of architecture. Thank you for listening.